Thank you very much. Good morning. We're going to start right away, so as you're filtering in, please filter all the way across. We're going to have a packed house. I understand we have an outstanding attendance today and this week, so we're going to get moving. So good morning and welcome to the 2017 Winter Meeting of the American Nuclear Society and to San Francisco. I want to thank you all for being here. Like I said, it's a tremendous turnout. It's nice to be back in San Francisco. It's been a few years since we've been here, and it's nice to be back. These meetings are critically important to the continued innovative work of nuclear professionals across the spectrum of our various specialties. And you'll see many of those specialties on view today and throughout the week. While there are a wide range of topical sessions for you to attend, I expect that your hallway conversations and mealtime get-togethers will do as much to forward your work and inspire you as the planned sessions do. But we're starting off with an exceptional lineup of speakers this morning, and we have Meeting General Chair Jose Reyes, Assistant General Chair Dan Ingersoll, and Technical Chair Ray Klein, and the entire Planning and Technical Program Committees to thank for arranging a very dynamic program for us over the next few days. And Jose will be up here in a few seconds. Oh, in fact, he's coming up. Could Jose, Dan, and Ray, all the members of the Planning and Technical Committees, please stand so we can show our appreciation for all your hard work. Thank you again to everyone who helped plan this week's program and to the generous sponsors, of course, the generous sponsors, who support everything we do that makes this all possible. I'd also like to honor the ANS members who have passed away since our November meeting. Please join me in a moment of silence as we remember them and their achievements. Thank you very much. Now, I'm excited to say that I have a lot of good news to announce today. It's nice to have some positive news to share with you all this morning, especially at a time when we've had some minor setbacks and disappointments and some uncertainty. However, it's important for us to celebrate our successes as well and not forget that what we do every day is contributing to a better quality of life for everyone around the planet. I'm greatly encouraged by the new wave of nuclear professionals and others who are repeatedly speaking out to counter the self-serving agendas of those who oppose nuclear energy. Many of you in this room are among those who are leading the way for others to join their voices, and I want to thank you on behalf of the ANS for speaking up. ANS is working collaboratively with new grassroots organizations, as well as our member businesses, think tanks such as Third Way, to develop common messaging and support each other's efforts. The ANS Speakers Bureau is now up to 80 members, eager to share their knowledge and expertise and get involved in spreading the nuclear story to their communities and to other communities. Our student members and young professionals have been especially active in the outreach roles, and I want to thank our younger members and students for the activities that they've done over the past year. We are becoming noticed and recognized as the credible technical voices that we are, and while it's not happening as fast as we would like it to be, many of us see small signs of changing attitudes among the public and policymakers. The key will be for us to keep moving forward and communicating. I know that I can count on all of you to continue speaking up for nuclear technologies and to look forward to facing our challenges head on with you and our partners. And speaking of challenges, that leads me to my first announcement of this morning, the selection of the ANS Nuclear Grand Challenges. As you know, the focus of my term as president of ANS has been on identifying the technical challenges that we must solve during the next 10 to 15 years in order to advance nuclear science and technology. I felt that the outcomes would carry much more importance if we involved all of the ANS membership and our organizations, as well as the broader nuclear science and technology communities. We engaged them to identify the challenges that we'll announce this morning. When we started, I got to admit, I had no idea whether this would come off. This was a wild idea of Andy's. I didn't have any notions about the ideas that would come forward or how engaged our members would become in this society-wide activity. And I want to commend the divisions for the outstanding efforts. All 20 of our divisions participated in this in a very active way. Much more exceeded my expectations by so far, I can't even say how much. And I'm indeed grateful to the divisions for stepping up. Overall, we received more than 300 suggestions. That was in a special session last November, and then also in individual private conversations and inputs. But we had others that came in the divisions in their conversations, so it was really great. So thank you all who offered your recommendations. We received some duplicates, as you'd expect, but it's amazing how many of those 300 were independent and different. So again, thank you. I just want to take a little side here to mention the part of teamwork. We used the team of the American Nuclear Society to pull together these ideas, and we'll announce them in a few minutes. The generation development of plans, and then finding solutions are all going to require us to get together and team up to make these things happen. I'm very proud of the teamwork that we exhibited so far to get to this point, but you know the next steps are even going to be harder. We've got to figure out attack plans, how we're going to take on each one of these 9 challenges that we have, and so we need to work as a team and teams to make that happen as well. So I emphasize that we need to continue our teamwork on these. I want the communities, the divisions, to pick these up and move these forward. And so let's have these conversations with Capitol Hill, with our policymakers and others to make sure that these things happen. So what we did was we had each division was invited to provide 1 to 3 inputs. We combined them all into 42 that went to votes to the board of directors and the divisions. And from those 42, we down selected to the following 9. So the top vote getters addressed some similar things, so I pulled some together that were similar to each other. So the result was 9 things. I'm announcing the identified challenges here very briefly, but I hope you'll join me this afternoon. We have a great panel and great session, the President's special session, for an in-depth discussion about each of the 9 challenges we're going to talk about here. We also considered how we might proceed to tackle these challenges, and that's the next step. We have some of the top experts this afternoon who are going to talk about each of these 9 ideas, and so please plan to join us as we start the first steps in tackling the grand challenges. So without further ado, here are the ANS Nuclear Grand Challenges in no particular order of importance. There's no one that's more important than the other. But the first one is to establish the basis for modern low-dose radiation regulation. The focus of this challenge is on settling the scientific basis and guidelines for the health effects of low-dose radiation and replace the linear no-threshold approach with a modern, science-backed model for radiation safety. If the L&T model can be replaced with a scientifically defensible model, underpinned by the latest microbiology and other scientific research, we can achieve both higher levels of safety while reducing unnecessary operation burden and waste disposal costs and other costs. The next challenge is to transform the way nuclear technology sector thinks about public engagement. If we're going to change the way the public views nuclear energy, we must first transform the way that we think about public outreach. We have to move away from approaches that rely heavily on our focus and delivery of scientific facts to a more evidence-based communications model that builds mutual respect with the public over time. It's not going to happen quickly. We're going to need to have some training here. This is something that we're not very good at. We need to become much better at. We must also close the nuclear fuel cycle. To achieve this and obtain maximum value while minimizing environmental impact from using nuclear fuel, there must be a pathway to support the demonstration and deployment of advanced fission reactors, accelerators, and material recycling technologies. As you know, medical isotope production has been threatened in recent years. Our challenge is to develop a dependable technical approach to ensuring the continued availability of radioisotopes for medical, energy, research, and national security applications. The next grand challenge addresses the urgent need to rejuvenate and build the infrastructure, facilities, and skilled scientific staff required for research, testing, development, and deployment of advanced nuclear technologies. Maintaining this national test bed and set of facilities around the country is critical to commercial nuclear businesses. Another challenge that impacts the energy business is the need to accelerate the development and qualification times for new nuclear fuels. This also applies to advanced materials that can withstand extreme fission, fusion, and space power and propulsion environments. Finding solutions to this challenge will benefit not only nuclear energy research, but also applications in many other areas. Similarly, we must accelerate the use of simulation and experimentation and combine the two. We will enable the development of first principles predictive simulation capabilities that are necessary to transition nuclear energy system design and licensing from reliance entirely on experiments to reliance on modeling and simulation. Moving along, our next challenge is one that should be of no surprise. We must expedite the development and deployment of advanced reactor concepts by developing a practical path forward for applying innovative approaches to licensing these advanced reactor designs. We must do this in a way that reduces the regulatory burden while still providing the safety and meeting the pace of commerce. Eliminating the difficulties facing the licensing and construction of new nuclear power plants would greatly impact the nuclear power investments. And finally, the last one, we must expedite the updates to higher education for nuclear engineering curriculum and improve the way we do knowledge transfer to better match today's professional workforce needs. The fact is, the average age of the nuclear workforce is over the age of 50. I find myself in that category. Never thought that would be. These professionals have a wealth of knowledge that is not necessarily in books. It's hard as somebody who likes publishing. As they leave the workforce, we must capture that before it's lost. So we must look for ways to acknowledge and ensure that knowledge transfer as well. So those are the 9 ANS Nuclear Grand Challenges in a very short nutshell. Again, there's going to be copies of the Nuclear Grand Challenges report, which will be available at the special session this afternoon, so come by and get a copy, or you can easily download it online. So I look forward to seeing you all at the session this afternoon. Now, the second good news announcement is that starting in 2018, on January 1st, all ANS members will have free access, online access to our 3 technical journals as a member benefit. Members will not only have free access to the current issue articles, but also to the journal's decades-long electronic archives. The Archive for Nuclear Science and Engineering stretches back to 1956. Nuclear technology goes back to 1965, and fusion science and technology goes back to a long time ago, for many in the room, 1981. So you can see this is a tremendous opportunity and member benefit for being a member of the ANS, and we look forward to everyone having a chance to take advantage of that. So, I hope that you'll spread the word to your colleagues who are not members so that they will become aware of this change. Print subscriptions will, of course, continue to be available at a discount rate for ANS members, but the online will be accessible. So my next announcement is a particularly exciting one. As you may have seen in ANS News, we received a $1 million donation to our Center for Nuclear Science and Technology Information in December. The donation was from the Carolinas Virginia Nuclear Power Associates, which was the corporate operator of the now decommissioned Carolinas Virginia tube reactor. There's a great story behind this donation, and I'd like to tell it to you in a minute. For those who may not be familiar with the center, it encompasses all of ANS's activities related to public information and education about nuclear. The center provides an umbrella for ANS to offer resources for K-12 teachers and students, provides policymaker education, conducts public outreach activities. It's important that the roles of these activities that fall under the center are entirely funded through donations. That's why this donation was critically important. You may have read the story about it in the ANS News or on our website, but for those of you who do not know, we have an immediate past President Gene Grichek to thank for helping to arrange a significant donation. When Carolinas Virginia Nuclear Power Associates dissolved, its corporate charter specified that the remaining assets must be distributed to organizations exclusively for educational purposes related to the use of atomic energy for peaceful purposes. Their board of directors included representatives from the 3 member companies, SCANA, Duke Power, and Dominion. As luck would have it, Gene Grichek was the Dominion representative on the board at the time. The center's goal of providing public information and education was a perfect fit for these funds. Impossible. So Gene, would you please stand so we can acknowledge your contributions and efforts. Thanks very much, Dean. Because we rely completely on donations